If you want to learn auto layout, you are in the right place. I'm going to teach you how to create a responsive card just like the one I have here. Look, it's called responsive card, and if I resize, the image is responding, the text is responding, and the icon here is also responding. It's staying on the right side. And here I have another card called scaling trick. It is the same card except one thing. The image here is scaling nicely. However, before you start creating such a complex object like a card, I'm going to teach you how text works. And I mean text within auto layout. I'm going to talk about responsive text, truncation, troubleshooting, and so on. So you would be ready for the next part, which is creating a responsive card part. After finishing this course, you'll have a knowledge how auto layout works, how text works, how images work, and how to create objects like cards and similar objects. Because if you know how to create a card, you can create practically anything you want. Now we are going to move into dangerous territory, meaning responsive design. From now on, we are going to create responsive cards, responsive objects, layouts, and so on. So from now on, it's all about using auto layout, learning how to use auto layout, and in addition, creating responsive objects using auto layout. In this example, I have a new frame called recipe. And from now on, each exercise, each video will have a frame called recipe for you and me so that you could follow along. And here on this frame recipe, I have two text layers, and I'm going to show what I'm going to do with those in a minute. But I just wanted to mention that new frame is introduced. It's called recipe, and the practice, the work we are going to do is going to be on another frame, and here it's called text and image responsive. Okay, so let's zoom in. Here on this frame called recipe, I have a title and I have a random text as a paragraph. So I'm going to select both and hold my Alt or Option key and just drag here on text and image frame. And here you can see this example. It's called example 1 responsive. I'm looking on the left side. And what is here? It's a responsive auto layout. So if I change the width, it goes down or up, so it's responding, and even title is responding. Okay, so we are going to create this right now. I'm going to select this title and hold Shift and click on paragraph, and now both layers are selected. And I'm going to click Shift plus A to add auto layout on top. And now on the left side, you can see it's called frame number 1, meaning auto layout frame. And now I'm going to change width, and look, it's not responding. And why is that? Because we need to alter some settings inside auto layout. So I'm going to click this arrow on the left side and select the title here, how to use auto layout, and change from hug to fill on the right side, fill. I'm going to do the same thing here. Now it's set to fixed. I'm talking about the paragraph. Now it's set to fixed. I'm going to change this to fill. And now I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so it's now it looks really big. So I'm going to select frame number 1, meaning auto layout frame, and just click here and just drag this frame here. And now look, it's responding to the size. And I want to mention one more thing, that responsive design goes horizontally like this. You don't have to worry about top or bottom, because the screen size shrinks like this. Even if you turn your phone, and it still, we see the layout like this. We go from top to bottom, meaning that it shrinks horizontally. So what responsive design means is that this text goes down. So if I shrink the layout, or in this case auto layout frame like this, it goes down so I could read it. So it doesn't shrink like this from from bottom to top, or from top to bottom. So responsive means that it's responding to screen size or frame size. If you go from laptop to tablet to TV screen or phone, the screen size is changing, resolution is changing, so it has to adapt, meaning it has to change the width of the frame or layout. Second example is about truncation. So I'm going to zoom out. I have two examples here, and if I select first one, you see on the left side it's called example 2 truncation text auto height, and example number 3 truncation text fixed height. I'm going to explain the difference, but example number 2 and example number 3 is about truncation. And I had no space to write truncation, so I just wrote trunk, and that's it. But I mean truncation. And what is truncation? So let's zoom in. You see 3 dots. Look at the paragraph. So and here in this space, you see 3 dots, meaning that the text is truncated. If I double click here and double click here, you see that it has huge paragraph. But if I select here on empty space, you can't see it because it's truncated, meaning it has 3 dots, meaning that it has more text. For example, if I select this auto layout and just drag like this, see we have 4 lines and more text appears, but it's still truncated to 4 lines. So paragraph doesn't go below 4 lines. And same with layout. Look, it was set to 1 line, meaning it's we can see, for example, here how to use, but to use what? Since the object is small, we can't see it. But it's useful because someone can say, oh, there's information there. So, okay, so let's back off here. And example number 3 is similar. I'm going to explain the difference, but visually it's the same thing. You change the width, and both title and paragraph is truncated. And look. But here we have more lines. Now let's talk about the difference. Example number 2 is at the top, and it's called example 2 trunk text auto height. And let's take a look at the paragraph. So I'm going to select this layer and this random text, and let's take a look at the right side. So horizontally it's set to fill, meaning it's filling the auto layout container, and we did that to make it responsive, right? So we are going to leave that. We don't need to worry about that. What we need to worry about is this vertical resizing, and now it's set to hug. Okay, so in this example number 2, the paragraph and the title is set to hug vertically. And let me show you what happens if you select to hug. Now we are going to look at the text box. I hope you are doing the same. So let's look at the text box here, and let's click on 3 dots here, type settings. And if I click here, I have to go here at the bottom, and you can see this truncate text. So this option is set, meaning to truncate the text, and we can set max lines, and now it's set to 4, and I can increase to 5, 6, 7. So let's leave at 7. I'm going to click here on empty space, select example number 2 auto layout, and look, now it's at 7 lines. Now paragraph was set to 7 lines, and now I can, resize, and it stays at 7 lines. If I select this paragraph and click on 3 dots, I can change back to 4, and it's back to 4. Same with the title. If I select the title and click, look, the title is also set to hug vertically, okay? Hug vertically. And if I click here on 3 dots, I can see that truncation is set, so it's active, and it's set to max 1 line because it's set to 1. So I'm setting lines manually. On example number 2, I am changing text layer vertically to hug, and I can change and I can set how many lines I want to have, and I can activate truncation and set I want to have 4 lines or 1 line or 2 lines, so I can make a decision. Now here on example number 3, it is a little bit different, and let's check. And example number 3 is called trunk text fixed height. So let's select the paragraph first. So I selected the paragraph, and now let's look here on the right side, and vertical resizing is set to fixed. So it's not hug, but it is fixed, meaning it's fixed vertically. Horizontally, it's fill, meaning it's responsive and all is fine, but vertically, it's fixed. And look, if I click here on 3 dots, you can see truncation text option is on, but we see no lines. So how many lines can I have? And the difference is that you can set lines manually. So if it's fixed, you set lines like this. You click here and you just drag, for example, to here, and click here on empty space. Now I'm going to select example number 3, the auto layout, and look, if I change, it stays at 3. Okay, I'm going to, oh, sorry, wrong button. And if I double click here on this paragraph, I can do the same thing. I can just drag, for example, here and leave as it is, and just, do like this, and it stays. So, okay, let's undo. Okay, great. So the difference between example number 2 and example number 3 is very simple. The text on example number 2 was set to hug vertically, meaning that I can click here and adjust max lines by putting the number here on type settings. And on example number 3, text was set to fixed, meaning it has no, it doesn't have this option here, so I have to manually go like this. So that is the difference. And which one to use, you decide. It depends on the situation and what exactly do you need. Now let's do some work. Let's take our original frame that you and me created. I hope you're following along. And it's called frame number 1, and it's responsive, but the text, is responding by going down. So instead, I want to truncate the paragraph. So I'm going to double click and select the paragraph. I'm going to leave here vertically set to hug. I'm going to click here on 3 dots called type settings. I'm going to enable truncate text option and set to, let's say, 8 lines. And I'm going to click here, click on this empty space, zoom in, select this layer, this auto layout layer called frame number 1, and now look, it's truncating. But the title is not truncating, it's going down. And that's fine, this is what I want. And you can experiment, you can set different numbers, and you can see how it works. But we did that, now we can move on. I'm going to select this layer called frame 1, auto layout frame 1, the one me and you created. And I'm going to click delete on my keyboard because we are finished with truncation and I want to start fresh. So I'm going to delete, hold spacebar and move with my mouse by clicking and dragging. I'm going back to recipe. I'm going to select both again. All right, I'm going to click Alt or Option key on my keyboard and click with my mouse and drag this here to make a copy just below this example called example number 4. So I'm going to zoom in by holding Control or Command key and scrolling my mouse wheel, all right, like this. So here I have example number 4. Let's expand on the left side. Let's click this small piece, and example number 4 is one big auto layout and auto layout frame. And inside we have one auto layout frame called responsive text. So this layer that I selected is called responsive text, and it is auto layout frame. And below we have just a simple text layer with random text. Let's expand this layer called responsive text, meaning auto layout layer called responsive text. Let's click here, and inside we have title, how to use auto layout, and the same one, and we have this paragraph. So one auto layout is holding a title and is holding this text, random text, and the big one on top is holding one auto layout layer called responsive text and one text layer. So you can see the structure on the left side. Now, it's supposed to be responsive, but it is not responsive, right? So I'm changing the width and nothing happens. Now, why is that? Let's troubleshoot. So if I click on responsive text layer, this is auto layout layer, and if I click on this, if I select this, and if I click here with my mouse, I can see that it is responsive, meaning that it's responding, meaning that the problem might be with this, not with the layers within, meaning two text layers, how to use auto layout or paragraph. So because both are set to fill, so the problem must be on top, meaning with this layer called responsive text. And if I look on the right side, I can see that it is set to fixed, but we have to change it to fill if we want to make it responsive and fill example number 4 auto layout on top. So let's change to fill. Look, now it's filling the auto layout on top. And let's check paragraph layer. I'm selecting this layer below, and it's also set to fixed. So I'm going to change this to fill. And now if I go and select example number 4 on top, it's set to fixed. That's fine. And if I change, now all the layers inside, they are responding. So it's a responsive design. I'm going to undo. All right, because I want to leave as it is. So I'm going to, yes, it's fill. This one must be fixed. This is fixed. So this example number 4 is about troubleshooting and going through each layer and seeing what is happening. So if you want to create, let's say, a layout like this, big one, and if you want each layer to respond to the width, you have to go through each layer and set to fill, 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 fill. But example number 4, the layer, auto layout layer called example number 4 on top is set to fixed, and it has to be set to fixed. But each layer inside has to be changed to fill. If you want, for example, if you don't want this paragraph to be responsive, leave the setting on fixed. You don't have to change it. But if you want to respond to this paragraph, to respond to the width, you have to change to fill. And let's replicate this here below. Let's zoom out with the text layers I have. So I'm going to select both, and now I'm going to add auto layout on top by clicking Shift plus A. And look at the left side, new frame is created, auto layout layer called frame number 1. So it's auto layout layer. And let's zoom in. Look, it's not responding, right? So what I have to do now is click here on this arrow and select the title and change from hug to fill. Select this paragraph, set to fill. Let's zoom out. I'm holding Control or Command key and using my mouse wheel, and select this till I see horizontal arrows. Click and just drag here. Okay, zoom in like this. All right, so let's set to something like this. Now I'm going to zoom out. Let's go back to recipe. Let's select this text without the title. Let's hold Alt or Option key and just drag here below. Right, let's zoom in. So we have frame number 1 that we created, and it's called frame number 1, but it's auto layout frame. Look, and it's responsive. What? It's not responsive. What happened? Oh, it changed to fixed. Okay, let's change to fill. Oh, I know what happened. Yeah, because I clicked here, and since I dragged like this, look on the left side, I'm selecting a text layer instead of frame number 1, and it automatically changed to fixed. And that's fine, because this just shows that one tiny mistake can ruin what you're doing. So I'm going to undo. Let's leave as it is. I'm going to select frame number 1. So I have to select frame number 1 on top and drag like this. And now if I check inside, look how to use auto layout, the title, it's set to fill. The paragraph is also set to fill, so it didn't change to fixed. Now I'm going to select frame number 1, zoom in, and look, it's now responding. So this is a perfect example how you can, just skip one bit and it doesn't work anymore. So it's very sensitive. Each click, each mistake counts. Okay, so this is responsive now. Okay, great. Now let's set like this, and here below we have this text layer. It's just a text layer. So I'm going to select frame number 1, meaning auto layout frame number 1, and hold Shift and select this text layer below. Right? So I'm selecting one auto layout and one text layer below, and I'm going to add auto layout on top by clicking Shift plus A. And now I have new auto layout on top, and it's called frame number 2. So let's expand. Let's click here. So we have frame number 1 is on top. This is responsive frame that we created, and below is this paragraph, but it's not responding. All right, so I'm going to select frame 2 and double check. So it's not responding. So what do I need to do? I need to go through each layer and set to fill if I want to make it responsive. So I'm going to select paragraph and set to fill. I'm going to change, select frame 1, not change, sorry, frame 1, and set, instead of choosing fixed, I'm going to choose fill. And I'm going to select frame number 2, zoom out, hold spacebar, move with my mouse, and click here and just drag here. And now it's responding fine. All right, so I'm going to select this, delete, and now we are going to talk about picture, responsive picture, and how to create a responsive card, a small one, a simple one that you can easily do with me. Image is just a fill. Let me show how it works. I'm going to create a rectangle like this. So it's just a simple rectangle. It has fill here, so I can change the color, let's say to red. But I'm going to right click, choose plugins and unsplash. Plugin, and I'm going to click technology and on this image, and now it what it did, it added image on my rectangle. So if I check right side under fill, I can see that new layer of this image is here, and I can hide this and have this color, or I can unhide. So it's just a layer under fill. And if I click next to it and drag below, I can have color on top. I can decrease color like this, visibility, I mean, to 20, or I can, hide, and now I can see the image. So this is how images work. You add as a fill, all right? So I'm going to delete this, zoom in here, and here it's rectangle. It has fill. If I hide fill, it has nothing. So it's just a fill of Fox. I got it from Unsplash, of course. And here on the right side, I have the same image, but I changed the height. And how I did that? Okay, so I'm going to create a duplicate. So if I select this image here at the right side, okay, let's move my mouse and keep it here. It says constraint proportions, meaning that if I change width, height is also changing to keep the proportions. So let's undo. But if I, deselect this, I can change height like this, and width stays the same. It's still 300, so it doesn't respond. So we are not keeping, the proportions. So what I did, I just, type 150 here on this image, and this is how I created this. So it's quite simple. All you have to do is, to deselect constraint proportions, or if you want to keep proportions, constraint proportions, you have to leave this on. All right. So here I have this image, and I have text layers that are, under one auto layout. So the auto layout is called text responsive here on the left side. So it's auto layout frame that has two text layers inside, one text layer and the paragraph, I mean the title and the paragraph, and both are set to fill, horizontally, I mean, and vertically to hug, of course. And on top, it's fixed and hug. So horizontally fixed, vertically hug, and now it's responding like this. All right. So you don't have to go back to recipe. You can use this image and this auto layout for the next example we are going to do. So I'm going to select both and create a copy by holding Alt or Option key and just dragging here below. And here, I mean this card called card responsive. Here on the left side, look, it's called card responsive. So I'm talking about this one. Okay, so card responsive. Let's click here and let's see how this auto layout was created. So it has image and this auto layout inside, and this auto layout has two layers, two text layers, so the title and paragraph. So it's quite a simple structure. So we are going to replicate here below. So we have this loose image and we have auto layout here, and it's responding, right? Okay, so I'm going to select both and click Shift plus A to create auto layout on top, and I'm going to check now, and it's not responding. Okay, so it's called frame number one, auto layout frame number one. I'm going to click here and click on this image, and now look, it said to fixed and fixed. I'm going to change to fill horizontally, and I'm going to select frame number one, and now it's responding, and it's zooming in and out. So this is what we want. All right, and I'm going to select text auto layout called text responsive auto layout below, and I'm going to change to fill, and I'm going to expand and check each layer, so it's set to fill, and this paragraph is set to fill. So I'm going to click on frame one, and now the text is responding and image is responding. All right, but if I select this image and change to fill vertically, look what happens. I'm going to select frame number one. So now image is set to fill and fill, and now it behaves in a different way, right? So it's filling both horizontally and vertically, but this is not what we want, and it's not ideal unless you want this effect to happen, right? So, but we are aiming for this, okay? Because here it doesn't scale properly, but it's doing quite a decent job, let's say, scaling like this. So if I change to fixed vertically, I need to change. Look, one thing, for example, if I select this image and I change back to fixed and I select frame one, look, it's fixed and fixed. So I need to, and look, if I don't do anything, look, paragraph goes beyond the frame. Okay, let's add color so you could see. Look, paragraph goes beyond, because I changed image to fill and fill. I changed my mind. I decided that I need to change to fixed vertically, and now the frame on top, auto layout on top, was automatically changed to fixed and fixed. So you have to double check each time if you're altering the settings, right? So, and now it looks great, but if it shrinks even more, the paragraph goes below, and since it was set to fixed, it doesn't hug the content. So frame number one has to be set to hug, right? And originally it was set to hug, but since we altered the settings of image, and I mean vertical settings, to fill back to fixed, frame number one settings also changed, because those settings respond to what happens inside. So if you are changing settings inside, sometimes it automatically changes to fixed, and you have to double check if something is not working. So I'm going to remove the fill. So this is what happened. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, I'm going to click on this card responsive, and I'm going to create a duplicate here. All right, and I'm going to explain this last card. And what do I mean by having two borders, the red one and blue one, okay? I'm going to select this and add stroke. All right, I'm adding stroke, and I'm going to change stroke color to red, I'm talking about right side here, and I'm going to increase, let's say to 4, let's say to 2. Okay, let's leave at 2. So now look, this frame, it's responsive and it's responding and it's working great, fine. So it represents here the one inside of this red border. So it's the same up until this red border. But we have this blue one, and this blue border represents new auto layout on top. So we are talking again about adding another auto layout on top. And there's a reason why you want to do that. Of course, there are many reasons why you would want to do that, but you're going to see later when we work on more complex auto layouts. Okay, so I'm going to select this and zoom in. So I'm going to add fill just for now. Let's say this green. So this green color represents this auto layout. So it's auto layout, it has red border. Okay, so I'm going to select this auto layout and add another auto layout on top. So I added new auto layout, but it's not visible. And now look on the left side, it's called frame number 1. So we added new auto layout on top. And if I add stroke here by clicking this plus sign, and let's change to blue. Let's add stroke thickness. Let's set to 2. And now look, it's similar to this, but the difference is if I select this, the numbers, the padding is different. So it's set to 20 and 10, and here it's 10 and 10. So I can set to 20 and 10. And now look, it's the same. So we have one auto layout. Okay, let's click to expand. So one auto layout is holding all the content up until this red border. And there's another auto layout that is holding this big one, and it added one border on top. And this is quite useful if you want, to have border on top, and let's say control border at, corner radius, add fill to this, for example, like this. And this is how you add more visual elements, because okay, I'm going to undo. I'm clicking Control or Command key multiple times to undo. Okay, let's undo. Or for example here, if I have this red border, I can control this border, right? So, but it adds inside, of course. I can choose outside and add like this, but I can't control the padding, because if I add padding, the padding is added within and it shrinks like this, right? So, and I can do from the top. So it's not that useful if I want to create something on top. But if I select this and add auto layout on top, I have another frame on top. And now I can, play around and, okay, let's change the color to add bigger padding, right? So, and it's different fill. I have a stroke, let's say in this color, and let's set to 20. You see, this is how you do it, because if you take the original this frame and you want to add, let's say, more borders, more something, control padding, you have to add auto layout on top. And you can replicate this, what I did. You can also check this frame. It's called adding auto layout on top. Okay, I'm going to delete this one. Let's zoom in. I'm going to drag this here to the top so you could see it easily. And if I click on this adding auto layout on top frame, it's auto layout frame. So it controls this border and area around this card inside, and this card inside is called responsive card, and it is auto layout. If I click here, it has this image that was set to fill, and we have this auto layout that is holding two text layers. So the structure goes like this. At the bottom, we have two text layers and auto layout on top. Then in the middle, we have image and auto layout that is holding text, and auto layout on top that is called responsive card. So it wraps image and this auto layout. And it's up till this red border. I added this on purpose. And we added another auto layout on top that is called adding auto layout on top this text, this layer. It's called adding auto layout on top, and it has blue border, and you can control it, and you can add multiple elements without altering the original card. So I can add fill, for example, here, like this, and I can select this responsive card and add, for example, white. So with this layer, responsive card layer, I'm controlling the card, the main card, and with auto layout on top, I'm controlling what is happening around this card. And this is very important if you want to create multiple effects, add multiple information. So here in this example, I just wanted to show the principle that you can have multiple layers on top. And of course, we discussed before and I explained the concept, but here on this card, it's the same, but you can see how it works in real life because it looks like a real card and so on. So you can click on this and, you know, change the color inside like this. And here, since we have auto layout on top, we can also control, you know, fill, border, and so on, and you can do multiple things. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one, select this, delete this, fill, because I want to leave as it is. So this lesson was about creating responsive text, responsive card, and showing how multiple layers work and the problems you might face. And as you saw, you can run into multiple problems just by doing simple things. You already know how to create responsive paragraph, you know how to create responsive image, and how to set the settings so that the title and paragraph would respond to the auto layout size. Now is the time to create an actual card. And here on frame number 1 called responsive card, I have this responsive card that I'm going to recreate, and I hope you are going to follow along and we are going to do this together. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to change the size of this card, and look. The title is responding, paragraph is also responding, image is responding, and the small icon on the right side at the bottom is also responding to size, meaning it stays on right bottom side. Okay. Now it's set to 320 width. And here on the left side, I have recipe frame, and inside you'll see all the ingredients necessary for creating this responsive card. And let's start from the image. I'm going to zoom in. So the image is just a simple rectangle. I can create, okay, let's drag this here. So it's just a simple rectangle. What I did, I just chose to right click, plugins, Unsplash, and I found this image on Unsplash and I just added on rectangle. This is what I did. Let's zoom in. So the corner radius is set to 8, and the image, it's just a fill. I can add a different fill on top. Okay, let's change to 100, and now it's black, so it's just a fill. Okay, here I have categories: delight, cooking, life, some random words. And it's roboto, medium, size is 12, and it has gradient on top. So I sampled 2 colors from the image, and the gradient goes from left to right side. Okay. Here below I have this title, which is a random text. It's meaningless, but it's a title, and it's Roboto Bold 16, and it is set to auto height. And once I set to auto height, I can truncate the text to 2 lines, because I'm going to show you right now. If I set to fixed size, I can set to truncate text, but I can't specify lines like I showed before with auto layout. So here's the same. So if it's a fixed size, I have to do it manually like this. But if it is auto height, I can set to truncate text and choose max lines set to 2. This is what I did. Same goes for paragraph. It's Roboto regular 14. Font color is under fill. Same goes for the title. And I also truncated this paragraph, and max lines is set to 4. And of course, I could do this because auto height was set. If I set to fixed size again, now I can't set the max lines. But if it's auto, I can set to max 4 lines. Okay, here below is this icon. This is going to be an author icon, and I can choose ellipse and do like this, and just add image from Unsplash. And this is how I created this. I just added image from Unsplash. If I select this, you're going to see that under fill, there's an image that is added on top, and there's still gray color under that I left on purpose. And if you click on this image, it was set to crop, and I made this image a little bit bigger, just to leave this funny looking picture zoomed in a little bit. Here below we have a text layer, name, surname, another text layer. You can see the settings on the right side, and this little icon was acquired from feather icons. And what I did, okay, let's expand. So this icon is like most icons are in the frame, and I'm going to expand here. Okay, let's collapse responsive card frame. And here you have, I have, and you have text layer called comments. Okay, let's double click it. Okay, let's leave comments. It doesn't matter. And vector below. So originally it had no text layer. It had vector, and I added this text layer on top. This vector layer under has a gradient, linear gradient, which is also is going from left to right, and I sampled colors from the original picture. And here, this text layer is just a simple text layer. I want to show one thing. Okay, I'm going to create a duplicate. And look, text is kind of misaligned, because if you align to center and center, oh yeah, here, center and center, you see that it's off. What I had to do, I had to manually place this image and see if it looks good. And that's what I did, instead of, trusting Figma to align this text layer properly. Yeah, so here on recipe, frame, we have all the ingredients, and now we are going to recreate this responsive card. And instead of recreating each ingredient, it's very time consuming. This is why I did this up front and explained how I created each ingredient, so that you could learn how to use auto layout instead of learning how to create text layer and so on, because this training course is not about that, it's about auto layout. So instead, I decided to have this frame called recipe, which I'm going to use in other parts. And now we are going to check how responsive card was constructed, and we are going to use ingredients from recipe frame to recreate this card. I'm going to collapse recipe frame, and let's zoom in here. And now this card is selected. And now I'm going to move my mouse here and expand under card. And let's check the structure. Card auto layout is on top, and it has two auto layouts inside. One is called top and one is called bottom. Okay, so let's start from the bottom. Bottom is the section down below with author, image, name, surname, time posted, and the icon. Let's expand here. The author auto layout is on the left side, and the icon frame is on the right side. Okay, so it's split. One is on the left and one is on the right. Let's expand author auto layout. It has an icon inside and another auto layout, which is called name and time. Let's expand this. It has two text layers, name, surname, time posted. Okay, so the bottom layer looks kind of complicated, right? So it's not just one or two auto layouts. Let's expand the top auto layout. It has the image and auto layout called text. Let's expand, and inside we have categories, and below we have another auto layout called title and paragraph. Let's expand this, and inside we have two text layers, title and paragraph. So the structure is as it goes. One big auto layout on top and two big sections, top and bottom, and each section has multiple layers, multiple auto layouts inside, and we are going to recreate each section right now by using ingredients. Just before we start, let me tell you one thing. Let me assure you that this is not the only way. This structure that I created is one way. This is how I did it. But you can create this card or similar card in many different ways. My goal is to teach you how to use auto layout, how to think, and to show one possible way. In the end, there are many ways, but for now, we are going to recreate this, and I'm going to show how each auto layout was created and what is happening. Let's go back here on the left side, and I think we should start from this auto layout. I'm going to select name and title from recipe frame, hold Alt or Option key, and drag here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. I'm holding Control or Command key and using my mouse wheel. I'm going to click on time posted and drag this here. Now I'm using my mouse wheel to scroll down. Okay, let's collapse top just for now so you could see it. Name and title, this auto layout. Okay, I'm going to select both. Shift+A to create auto layout. I'm going to rename this auto layout to name and title. Now I'm going to click on name and title and look at the right side, the gap was set to 4, hug and hug. Okay, so the gap was set to 4, hug and hug. Let's leave as it is. So we created one auto layout. Let's collapse name and time on the left side. Okay. Now author auto layout holds icon and name and time auto layout. What I'm going to do, zoom out, click on icon, Alt-Option key, drag here, zoom in, select both, and Shift+A to create auto layout. All right, now I'm going to rename to author. I'm going to select author on the real card here on the left side. I'm going to collapse recipe so you could see it, author. This one is selected, and the settings are, the gap was set to 12 and aligned left center. Align left center, 12. Great. Now I'm going to collapse author auto layout and click on bottom auto layout. Bottom auto layout has author auto layout and the icon. I'm going to zoom out, click on the icon, Alt-Option key, and drag here. Zoom in, select both, add auto layout, Shift+A, rename to bottom here on the left side. Now I'm going to select bottom, collapse recipe frame, select bottom on the original card. Bottom is selected, and the gap, horizontal gap between items was set to auto. Padding was set to 8. And now it's set to fill. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's select this. Let's click this drop down arrow, select to auto. Gap is set to auto, okay? And padding was set to 8. Great, we have bottom. I'm going to drag this here because it's bottom. Now I'm going to select this card and collapse bottom and expand top. And let's start from title and paragraph. I'm going to click on title, hold shift and select paragraph. Now I'm going to click Alt-Option key and drag both here. I'm going to collapse recipe frame so you could see it. Let's zoom in. I'm going to select both, Shift+A to add auto layout, and double click here and rename to title and paragraph. Great. Now I'm going to click on original title and paragraph to see the settings. So it was also set to fill, but we are going to talk about that later. The gap was set to 8. So I'm going to select this. The gap was set to 8. Good. I'm going to drag this here. Now I'm going to click on title and paragraph and collapse. Now I'm going to click on text, auto layout called text. And auto layout called text is holding categories and auto layout called title and paragraph. I'm going to zoom out, click on categories, drag here. I'm holding Alt-Option key, of course, to copy. Now I'm going to select both. Oh, let's collapse recipe frame so you could see it. And now I'm going to add auto layout on top, Shift+A. Great, Shift+A. Now I'm going to rename to text. Let's click on text here to see the settings. And the gap was set to 16 and padding to 8. I'm going to select this, 16 and 8. Now I can collapse auto layout called text, and auto layout called top has image and auto layout called text. Now I need to zoom out, click on this, drag this here, and create a copy. I want to hold Alt or Option key and drag this image here. I'm going to collapse recipe frame, select both image and auto layout called text, and add auto layout on top, Shift+A. And now I'm going to rename to top. I'm going to collapse top here under card layer, auto layout called card. So under this we have top. I'm going to select top to see the settings, and the gap was set to 16. Great, I'm going to select this, set the gap to 16. And I have top, have bottom and top. Now let's click on the card. So it's just one big auto layout called card, and it has the gap set to 36. I'm going to select my top and bottom, add auto layout on top, Shift+A, set the gap to 36. I'm going to check, oh, it was aligned to top left. Okay, let's change to top left. And let's align like this. Okay, and it's not responding, so it's not responsive. Let's rename this to, let's say 0, 0, 0. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to troubleshoot why it is not responding. And remember the concept frame within a frame, meaning we have to check each layer, each frame, if we want to create a responsive card. So let's expand here under bottom. We have author, and the icon is fixed, so we don't need to worry about that. Let's expand author, auto layout. Let's expand name and title, auto layout. Let's start from the bottom. Name and surname. It has to be fixed. It's not going to respond because it's just a small piece on the left side. Time posted can be fixed too. Name and title auto layout can be fixed. No changes here. Icon is fixed. Author auto layout doesn't have to respond, so I'm going to close this. This icon on the right side is also fixed. There's no need to change anything. Bottom auto layout should be set to fill. So instead of fixed, let's change to fill, because I want the bottom part to respond. Okay. All right. Now let's move to auto layout called top, and let's expand each auto layout. Let's start from the title. The title should be responsive, so I'm going to change from fixed to fill. Same goes for paragraph, from fixed to fill. Okay. I'm going to deselect, click on empty space, select this auto layout called 0, 0, 0, change to fixed, and type 320. Okay. All right. I'm going to select title and paragraph auto layout, the one that is holding title and paragraph. So auto layout on top, and I'm going to change from hug to fill. Okay. The categories, the category text layer should be fixed. It shouldn't respond. So I'm going to leave as it is. Text auto layout, I'm going to collapse title and paragraph. Text auto layout that is holding categories and auto layout called title and paragraph. This auto layout on top called text should be set to fill. Okay. And I'm going to collapse this. The image should be set to fill, and auto layout called top, that is holding image, and auto layout called text, I'm talking about this top, should be set from hug to fill. I'm going to collapse, and the one on top called 000 should be fixed and vertically hug. And now let's check. And it is responding fine. Right? This is how this responsive card was created. But before we move to scaling trick I want to show, let's check a few details, okay? I'm going to, oh yeah, and one more thing. Look, if I drag this out, it has no color, and let's add fill. Under fill, I'm going to select this auto layout called 0000, and under fill, I'm going to add white color. I'm going to zoom out. Now it has white color. If you need white color, of course. If you don't need white color, if you want to have a transparent card, that's fine. But here, I originally added white color on each card, so this is why I did this. Now I'm going to double click here on this part called bottom, and it was set to the gap was set to auto, meaning that author auto layout and the icon was split in half. So one is on the left side and one is on the right side. Instead of manually adjusting, let's say 110 or 20, I set to auto, and it automatically splits the objects. So this is why I did that. And the other options like gap and padding was set. The padding was set to 8 on text auto layout because I wanted text to be smaller compared to the image. Same goes for bottom auto layout. The padding was set to 8 because I wanted this auto layout to shrink a little bit. For example, if I set to 24 here, look, it shrinks from left and right side because I'm setting padding on left and right. But instead I chose 8, and same goes for text auto layout. I wanted categories and title and paragraph to shrink from left and right side, so I set the padding to 8. This is how it was created. I'm going to click on this and delete. And now we are going to talk about scaling trick and how to create a different kind of card. I'm going to resize each card, and I want you to see the difference. Let's select this card on the left side, the original responsive card, and I'm going to resize horizontally, okay? And all you have to do is look how it behaves. Now I'm going to click on this card called Card with Scaling Trick under Scaling Trick title. And now I'm going to resize horizontally. Look what is happening. Here on the left side, image is zooming in and out inside this rectangle, but it doesn't go beyond this rectangle, right? And here on the right side, image is scaling and keeping the aspect ratio and proportions are correct, and image is scaling nicely outside, meaning the rectangle with image fill is scaling outside. And I called it scaling trick because I had to name it somehow, because Figma doesn't have this option in itself. There's no option or setting to make this happen. Figma behaves in this way. But I want to mention that if you check modern websites and see how images are responding horizontally, you'll see that it usually goes like this, like here on the right side. Most of the time, it doesn't respond like this. It's not a big deal. I could easily tell my programmer or write a note and say this image has to keep aspect ratio and scale appropriately, not how it is done here. And it would be more than enough. I don't have to create this card on the right side, not necessarily. But if I want to demonstrate, or if I want to make sure that my design is I'm not talking about just card, but let's say web page is responding nicely, all the elements are responding nicely, I would want to create this type of card with a scaling image. Let me show you a few examples how images work on Figma. I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to collapse this frame and expand here, image scale explanation. Here I have a title called image crop example, and below this auto layout called image crop example. I'm going to expand, and inside there's an image, and it was set to fill and fill. If I click under fill on this image, you'll see that it was set to crop. Okay, and on top there's auto layout, it has fill, so you could see it, and padding set to 12 and 12. And if I click on this image, on this auto layout and resize horizontally, look, it doesn't even zoom in or out. What the auto layout is doing is stretching the image. It's not even zooming in and out. Here under image fill example, I have another auto layout, and inside I have an image. It was set to fill and fill. And if I click here under fill, the image is also set to fill instead of crop. And if I deselect and select this auto layout, look, it is zooming in and out. So it is behaving like on the card on the left side. But if it was set to crop, it's stretching. And both options are not optimal. And those are the options that Figma has. And if you want the image to scale like this, you have to use a scaling trick. I call it scaling trick, which you can get from this Figma community webpage. You can copy and paste this URL, and you will arrive here on this website. All you have to do is type auto layout aspect ratio, enter. And you're going to see a bunch of different options. I used most of them myself, but for this training I'm going to use this one by Raul Marin, this one with a nice little kitty. Okay, so what you have to do is double click and click open in Figma, go back to your Figma drafts, and you'll find this new file, double click on it, and you will arrive on this Figma file. Let's check it. Here on this Figma file, you'll see a couple of pages on the left side called intro, variants, and something in Spanish. You want to go down to variants, and I'm using aspect ratio 16:9. this one. And if I want to use it, this one, I need to select this auto layout, Control+C to copy, and now I'm going back. I'm going to paste here, Control+V to paste, and it is 64 by 36. Let me explain, show the source where you can find more information about aspect ratio. Okay, so normally you can use Google and type 16:9 aspect ratio, and you will find different information, articles, videos, and so on. I used Wikipedia, and here below under common resolutions, you can see common resolutions for 16:9 aspect ratio are listed in the table below. So you can see the most common resolutions. But let's go back here. If you want to use different aspect ratio, let's say 3:5, you can easily do it. And you can type 3:5 common resolutions for aspect ratio 3:5. And of course, you can use any aspect ratio. It's your decision. You choose. Let's go back here. And here I pasted this. The title is called aspect ratio and something in Spanish. So it is 64 by 36. If I resize horizontally, look, it is scaling nicely. So mine was set to 320 by 180. I can select this, type 320, and I have this. And all I have to do is add image on top. I can right click, choose plugins and a splash, and add any image on top, or I can select this and go under fill, click next to the image, copy, paste here, and I have this image here. And if I scale it up, it scales nicely. Of course, look, if I scaling too much, the image quality goes down because the original is 320 by 180. So if you're scaling, let's say up to 1000, I would advise to add new image, because look, this image is quite distorted because the original image size was 320 by 180, and now once you scale up, it gets blurred. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to create a copy here on top. I'm going to remove this, select this, right click, plugins, unsplash. I'm going to click on this, and look, if I zoom in, look at this sleeve. Okay, I'm going to select this. Look at this leaf here. It's much more distorted and it's blurred, and here looks way better. And the reason is because, okay, I'm going to zoom out. And the reason is because I took this image and put it on this scaling trick auto layout and expanded to 1000. So it was stretched. If you want to have better looking image at this size, you have to know the maximum width and height up front, so you could import correct image. You don't want to import small image. You want to import large image. Even if you're going to make it smaller, zoom out. I wanted to say zoom out. If you wanted to make it smaller, but you have to worry about the maximum and how it's going to look. Okay. So the scaling trick auto layout can be renamed to anything. Or you can double click here on the right side and can rename to anything. It doesn't change how it works. And image is just a fill, so you can add any fill. You can have multiple images and hide some other images underneath. This is how it works. Okay, I'm going to collapse this. And let's do one thing. Let's copy this. I renamed to scaling trick, this auto layout, which is scaling trick. Let's zoom in and check if it works. It works. I'm going to right click, go to unsplash, and choose a different image. Let's say this one. And I can easily replace this image on this auto layout. I can click on this image and just drag here below the original image here. And now I'm going to deselect, select this card and expand. So I dropped this scaling trick auto layout under this original image, and I can delete this one, select scaling trick image, scaling trick auto layout, set it to fill instead of fixed, deselect, select this one, and look, it works like a charm. Or if I want to replace image on this card on the right side under scaling trick, I don't need to drag and drop this auto layout because it already has one. All I need to do is select this auto layout, and under fill, I need to select this image, click copy. I'm holding Control or Command key to select this auto layout instead of double clicking. I'm going to paste, and now I have new image on top, and it works great. I don't need to do anything. Let's create a duplicate of this card here. Let's zoom in and let's talk about this card just for a moment, okay? This card was divided to top and bottom. I can easily select this auto layout called top and use my arrow keys and move like this. I can expand bottom, click on author, and use my arrow keys left and right, and I can move like this. I can expand, and under text auto layout, I can select categories, use my up and down arrow keys, and I can do like this. I can expand and select title and use my arrow keys to move up and down. I can also, okay, I'm going to select this and drag, add more information here, let's say in the middle, and I can change the size to 8. So it's very easy to edit because it expands if you add more information. For example, I'm going to select this category list, move out. I can drop this here, let's say here, and it expands. Of course, it looks bad, but I'm just showing how it works, right? Or I can add here, and I have another list, another category section. I can double click and select this bottom auto layout and add fill. I can add corner radius. I can add padding to make it bigger. I can select this section, title and paragraph. I can also add different color. I can create corner radius, add more padding. So you can edit like this, you know, all day and all night long. You can add multiple settings on each layer, meaning each layer, each auto layout has its own settings, and you can stack settings on top, and you can create a different looking card. And finally, let's take this scaling trick card. Yeah, okay. I'm going to double check. Yeah, it's working great. Let's say you want to add border. So you want to select this card, go under stroke, add border. Let's set it to 4. Let's add corner radius 16. But it's not looking great. It's too tight. We need to adjust padding. Left and right, let's set to 16. And here, if I set to also 16 and 16, and now we have border and it's responding nicely. And all we had to do was add stroke. We can also add effects like shadows and so on. We can add shadows on this big card. Okay, I'm going to collapse. On this card here below. Or we can add on individual auto layout. For example, on this bottom layout, we can add also drop shadow. Of course, we need to add fill because it was transparent. It had no color. So add fill, add drop shadow, and look, it has this box. And I can double click, add corner radius, let's say 32, and now it's round. It's popping out. Again, you can add everything that's on the right side on each individual auto layout, on each individual layer, and it's going to be effective. I'm gonna say honestly, I am beat. I think you are quite tired if you followed along too, but we still have few frames left, and it's going to be easy. The hard part is over. Here on this frame called 3 cards frame loose cards. This is not auto layout, this is just a simple frame. And inside we have 1 card, 2, and 3. 3 cards, and each card is just a copy, and I renamed to 1, 2, and 3. And it's the card that was originally created on the first frame. And it was called card with scaling trick because image is scaling and keeping aspect ratio nicely. Now I'm going to zoom out. You don't have to recreate this frame. I want you to copy this frame for this exercise. I'm going to hold Alt or Option key. First, I'm going to select this frame, click on the title here, and hold Alt or Option key and drag this frame under frame number 5. And frame number 5 is auto layout, and it's called auto layout is holding 3 cards. And if I click on this drop down on the left side, you'll see it has 3 cards inside and 1 big auto layout on top. And I want to recreate this. I'm going to rename this copy to, let's say, 000, because I want it to be distinguishable. And I'm going to create auto layout on top. Shift+A. Auto layout is added, but I want to check frame number 5 and see the settings. The gap was set to 32, padding left and right 80, and top and bottom 64. So 32, 80, and 64. 32, 80, and 64. Okay, let's go back. It was set to fixed. And this one is set to hug. So I'm going to change to fixed. And now let's check if it is responding. It's not responding. I'm going to undo Control+Z or Command+Z. I'm going to select this frame called 000 and click Enter. And now all the cards are selected. If you look on the left side, 1, 2, and 3 auto layouts are selected. And instead of leaving at fixed, I'm going to change horizontal resizing to fill. I'm going to click here, go back and click on 000, and now it's responding nicely. Look. We created auto layout with 3 cards, and each card is responding nicely. So we recreated auto layout 5. Okay, I'm going to select 000 and drag this under frame number 6. And I'm going, okay, now it's called 7. I'm going to double click and type 111111. Yeah, to make it distinguishable. Let's check frame number 6, and the title is another auto layout on top. let's click on the left side and expand. So inside, I have auto layout called auto layout is holding 3 cards, meaning this original auto layout called auto layout is holding 3 cards. So it's the same auto layout. If I select auto layout frame number 6, you'll see that it's the one inside. And on top, there's another auto layout on top, right? So we have 3 cards. One auto layout is holding 3 cards, and there's another auto layout on top. Visually, if you look at auto layout number 5 and 6, both look the same, and they even behave in the same manner. Look, if I expand horizontally, resize horizontally, it moves smoothly. Here it is the same. So what is the difference? Let's check. Let's select 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 and add another auto layout on top. Shift plus A. Another auto layout is added. Great. I'm going to rename to let's say 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Let's select auto layout number 6 and let's check right side. It has no gap. Padding was set to 80 and 64, but it has no gap and it was set to fixed. So I'm going to select this frame, auto layout frame called 22222, change gap from 10 to 0. And it was what? 80 and 64. Okay, 80 and 64. And I'm going to change to fixed and add color. Let's add red color. So this auto layout on top is red. Now I'm going to select this one. And I'm selecting auto layout called 6, auto layout on top. And on the left side, I'm going to select auto layout is holding 3 cards. And look here, gap was set to 32. And the padding left and right and top and bottom is set to 0. And horizontal resizing is set to fill. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to select this 22222, expand, and here expand 11111 is holding 3 cards. So I'm going to remove padding 0, 0, and change to fill. Okay, change to fill. Great. And here on top to fixed. And I'm going to select this on top, 2222, and just drag this here. And now both look identical. Of course, it has red color. I can hide it, or I can change to white if I want to, but I don't want to. Let's leave it red, and let's select 0, 0, 0, and change to red. And look, what is the difference? Between the cards we have red color, meaning that auto layout on top is controlling gap between and controls padding, right? But here on this, it controls only padding, but doesn't control gap. Gap is in white color, meaning that auto layout inside controls the gap. Look, I can control the gap like this, and I can I don't need to select the layer on top and control the gap. I can do this inside, and I can add visual elements. I can change the color to black. Here, I can add stroke and set it to white and increase to, let's say, 50. Okay, not 50. Let's say 16. Add corner radius 16. So I'm controlling this area. Of course, it looks like a mess, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to show the difference between auto layout on top and auto layout inside. I'm going to delete both, and let's get back to auto layout 5 and 6. Let's look on the left side. Auto layout 5 has 3 cards inside. Each card was set to fill, right? And auto layout on top is controlling gap between each card. If I select gap, you can see red squares. And padding left and right, and it is fixed. And AutoLayout 6 is controlling padding outside, but it has another AutoLayout inside that controls only gap, and it was set to fill. Visually speaking, they are the same, and if you are designing something, you should probably go with 5 unless you need to use AutoLayout inside within another AutoLayout. For example, if you want to add visual elements or change the settings to make it look different. But if you don't need to do that, you can go with AutoLayout number 5 because as I always say, you want to keep it as simple as possible and don't overcrowd with multiple layers on top. But for example, if I want to have this, okay, let's create a copy, a quick copy, okay? If I want to have, let's say, the main color set to this, and AutoLayout inside set to red, I mean between the cards, it would be way easier if you have multiple AutoLayouts. But if it's just one color, there's no need to have 2 AutoLayouts and one controlling gap and one controlling this. Of course, there are many occasions where you need to have multiple AutoLayouts. I can show you one example very quick before I go and, before my head blows off. Okay, I'm going to select this. And for example, here the gap is set to 32. But what if I want one gap to be 8 and one to be 32? I can't do this because it's set to 32, right? Okay, so I'm going to undo. I can select card number 1 and card number 2 on the left side, and I can add another AutoLayout on top. And now I can set the gap. Oh, first I need to set this to fill. Okay, it's to fill. Side to fill. Okay, and I can set the gap to, let's say, 8. And I have 2 small cards like this here, and this big card like this here. For example, I can change this card to, let's say, fixed, and just do like this. And if I resize the original frame, look, 2 cards responding to the size horizontally, but this card on the right side, this one, is fixed. So this is why you need multiple AutoLayouts, and you'll see later on. You don't have to follow this. I just wanted to, quickly show how it works and what you can do and why you should learn. Because you might think, why would I need to learn, this if it looks the same? Meaning AutoLayout 5 and 6 visually look the same. But there's a reason why I'm teaching this, because there are many occasions when you need multiple AutoLayouts stacked on top because you want to control different parts.